Hi there, and welcome to the third episode of this series. And today I'm going to give you a quick overview on visibility aspects of Systems Manager, as well as a demo in the end. My name is Felipe De Bene, and I invite you to join me into this journey. As I mentioned previously, the agenda for today, we're going to start with a quick recap to Systems Manager. I know this is the third episode, so by now you should be very familiar with the tool. So I'll try to be as brief as possible there. And also, I'm going to touch the four essential modules, which allows us to give us better visibility into our environment. As you guys know, at this point, Systems Manager is part of what we call AWS Management Tools, specifically focused on the operations and compliance management. And at this point, I hope that you guys are already convinced of its benefits, but I will try to bring them briefly. So the idea behind the visibility is to shorten the time to detect the problems, to automate the risks, increase efficiency, improve visibility and control over the infrastructure, whether this infrastructure is on the cloud or on premises, because it works on hybrid environments, and also going to help you guys to maintain security and compliance because it integrates with our security and compliance tooling. I have highlighted on the screen the modules that we're gonna touch basically on our demo. So we're gonna give a little show on Systems Manager Explorer. We're gonna get a deep dive into Ops Center, especially the Ops items. We're gonna see a short demonstration on Application Manager. We're also gonna go into Fleet Manager. We're gonna run command to finally fix the issue at the end. And we're gonna connect to our fleet or our instances using Session Manager throughout the place. As I mentioned before, this is kind of a repetition. So we're gonna start by using Quick Setup. It's the easiest way to set up Systems Manager. And I hope that you guys have already had a lab specifically on this. The most important thing I think about Quick Setup is that it enforces the best practices on your environment. And it can support multiple accounts and multiple regions. And it's going to ensure that our setup gets compliance all the time. So it's a great tool, a great way to start with. Next, as I said, we're going to get into Explorer. Explorer is more of a dashboard. So the idea is to give you some insights on operational issues across all your AWS account and regions, and also work as a consolidator for other tools as well, such as Compute Optimizer and Trusted Advisor Check. So it's a single pane of glass for our operations, and we're gonna do a little tour of this part once we get the demo running. Next, this is the focus of this presentation. We're gonna dive into Ops Center. Ops Center is designed to help you guys view, investigate, and resolve operational issues. So the main concept that we have here is that you're gonna have other tools for, in this example, CloudWatch, they are going to generate what we call ops item or an operational issue over which we can prioritize and even respond using runbooks or automation documents. So that's the whole idea behind Ops Center, and that's what we're gonna explore in a minute. The next module that we're gonna see as well is the Application Manager that serves just like a consolidator for our resource groups. So we can auto-discover the resources like the CloudFormation stacks or the manual resource groups that you create, the launch wizard, and even ECS and AKS clusters. So you can get a holistic view of your resources and how they are behaving from the application perspective and not from an individual resource perspective. And that's what you gain from this tool, from this module. We also gonna deep dive. We're gonna spend a lot of time here actually on Session Manager. So Session Manager is a way of connecting into the instances uh, via centralized control. We don't need to use SSH keys when we manage the instances using Session Manager. We eliminate the need of creating Bastion host, of creating firewall exceptions, uh, and also gonna enable people to directly connecting to instances just using IAM control. So it's a very powerful tool, and as I said, we're gonna use it a lot. There is also Fleet Manager, which is one of the latest tools that we're going to explore today. The purpose of Fleet Manager is to manage your fleet or your instances or group of instances at scale. So you can do things like browsing Windows registry, change values on Windows registry, browse the file system, tail file logs, and all of this without the need of actually RDP or SSHing into the instances. So it's also a very powerful tool for which we're gonna also explore in our demo slash lab. Of course, there are other features to Systems Manager which we are not covering this episode, but I highly encourage you guys to be tuned and check for episode 4 and 5 that are upcoming, which will give you better insight into the other features of System Managers. I'll leave you guys with some resources with most up-to-date information regarding our tools. Most notably, the management and governance blog channel, and of course, we are always open to hear your feedbacks, right? So, without further ado, I'm gonna get into the demo. Okay, guys. So the idea of this episode is to create visibility for the cloud and its resources. So we are gonna use these 7 features on Systems Manager, and we're gonna orchestrate those together to kind of simulate an alarm. So we're gonna create a CloudWatch Alarm that is gonna monitor the CPU utilization on an EC2 instance. This alarm will trigger an ops item. We're gonna capture that ops item and we're gonna do some troubleshooting and eventually fix the issue using run command. So that's basically the idea. So and in the end, I have a kind of an addendum where I'm gonna show you guys some of the Explorer and what else can you get out of it, and also gonna be showing you Application Manager as well, right? So let's start with it. For our initial setup, there are 2 ways of doing this. You guys could do using CloudFormation, or you could do this using the manual instructions. Both of them work the same. I'm going to start, since this is a learning session, I'm going to start with the manual instructions just to make sure that you'll be able to capture every nuance or every detail that we have on this demonstration. So when you guys are going to do this on your accounts, you can use the CloudFormation just to save time. But I think it's important at least once to see how it behaves in a manual fashion, right? So we're going to start by creating a EC2 instance, a Windows EC2 instance. So just a regular launch instance, something that you guys do every day. I'm going to get the vanilla Windows base, nothing special about it. I'm going to choose a T family, so T2 or T3 would work. I'm going to use size medium because since we're going to stress the CPU, if you choose one CPU, you're going to be 100% of CPU all the time, and you're going to have a very slow performance when doing the lab. So medium is more appropriate to avoid this. So I'll click next. Most of the default value here are acceptable. The only thing we're gonna change is that we're going to run a script to go ahead and install some software on the instance and make sure this software is going to stress our CPU, so we have something to work on. So we are basically on this part of the guide where we put the script. So I'm going to go ahead and put the script on my end. So I'll go to storage. I don't have to change anything here. The default is fine. I'm going to add two tags to this instance. First, I'm going to name it Windows Test Instance. And also, I'm going to put a tag so I know this is from the SSM workshop. And that's basically it. The value is true. Let's go to the security groups. We are not connecting to this instance, at least not directly. So the only thing that I'm going to change here is I'm going to put the source as my IP address, just in case I need to connect, but that won't be necessary because we are going to be using System Manager, right? So let's go to review and launch. Let's take a last look at the details, and if I'm fine with it, I'll just go launch. As I said, we're not connecting to the instance, so it doesn't matter if it doesn't have a key pair. So I will proceed without a key pair, and I acknowledge. And there you go, launch instance. The instance should launch shortly. There you go, we have the instance running, up and running. So at this point, we have advanced pretty much the first step. The next step we need to do is to run quick setup, as I mentioned, so it configures Session Manager on my environment, okay? So the way to create or run the quick setup is going to System Manager. You're gonna see here on the left where it says quick setup, click there. It's gonna list you all the configurations that you have. In my case, I don't have any, so I'll go ahead and create a new one. It's gonna ask you which kind of configuration you want. For now, we just want the host management to be active, right? So we're gonna choose host management, choose next. Most of these values are already acceptable. So it's gonna create an association that will make my agent get update every 2 weeks. It's gonna collect information from my instances every 30 minutes. And it's gonna scan my instance for missing patches daily, right? So that's what I wanna do. I wanna deploy it to my current region. I wanna enable it on all my instances, and that's it. So pretty much default configuration. Now click create. So the tool we're gonna start working, it's gonna launch CloudFormation, and it's gonna update me on the progress on the interface, right? So I just have basically to wait. So if we go back to our instructions, we are basically after creating this, creating the host management, we just have to wait until it is successful. And once it is successful, we're gonna see all the associations it created based on the options that you chose, right? So once this is finished creating, if we click the associations, we're gonna see all the ones that are pending and the ones that are successful. As of now, I just have one pending. Overall is in success. That means that if I go back to EC2, I'm gonna open a new tab. That means that my EC2 instance should have by now a security role, IAM role. And this was created by the quick setup. You can tell by the name, right? So these allow me to see in System Manager this instance as part of my fleet. Okay, so it has passed like 2 minutes or so, and I can already see my instance on my Fleet Manager. So that tells me it is configured for System Manager and the quick setup was a success. So the next step on my guide will be create a KMS key, because some aspects of system managers require you to give a customer managed key on KMS. So we're gonna go through that part just to make sure I can manage every aspect of my instance. If you leave the configuration just with the quick start, there are some features that not gonna work right off the bat until, especially session manager, until you give it a KMS key. So let's go. Let's create a key. So you're gonna go to KMS. I'm gonna open a new tab because I'm gonna need to be changing tabs. I have already 2 keys, but I'll go ahead and create a new one just so you guys can see how the process is. I actually gonna use the default value, so it's a single symmetric key. I'm gonna give it an alias, a descriptive alias. So I'll call it session manager key 03 because I have 01 and 02 before. I'm gonna fill in the description, click next. And next is gonna ask me for the administrators for this key. So this is basically my user. If you guys created the IAM user that come into the instruction as an optional, you're gonna have to choose that, which I'm putting here. Or you should put your regular user there. So mine is AWS reserved administrator access. That's the one. So I'll go ahead and click next. Who is gonna use this this role, this key? So in this case, this is the role that got assigned to the instance. So I'll go ahead and choose this role, and perhaps my own user as well if I wanna manage using that. And that's pretty much it. I can go default until the end. Okay, so my key here and it's created. Okay, I'll just have now to give permissions to use this key. So I have to go to in Identity and Access Management, IAM. I'm gonna look for my role, the quick start role, so I can click quick search it here. There you go, Amazon SSM role for quick instance setup. In this case, I already have a key policy for key number 2, which I'm gonna go ahead and delete. I don't need that. I just create a new key. So I'll go ahead and create an inline policy. I'll go to JSON to put the JSON. And you guys are gonna find in your guide the required IAM permission. So I'll just go ahead, copy that, paste it. I have to replace the key ID. So I'll erase it here. And I lost the KMS. Okay, so let's get the key ID again. It's key 03, copy the RN and paste it in here. And that's it. Review policy. All right, so my key policy is here. And I have the other 2 roles that that the quick start created for me. So I should be good on this part. So I created a KMS, created the permissions. Now I have to tell session manager that my keys, the keys that I wanted to use. So I'll go back to systems manager, go to session manager. There you go. Here in preferences, when you do edit, you have to select, I want to enable KMS encryption, and I want to use this key, and that's it, right? All the rest you can leave default, save. It says it's enabled. Okay, so what can I do now? I have enabled the KMS. So let's confirm that we still see the instance here. Actually, you can confirm by using Fleet Manager. And if I select the instance and go to Instance Actions, Start Session, I should be able to connect to my instance. And as you can see, it says that the session is encrypted using AWS KMS. So if I got to this point, means that my key is configured correctly with the proper permissions. So I'm able to manage my instance from the AWS console, right? And that's our end goal. So we have system managers fully implemented. Okay, so this is the end of the manual part. This is the instructions if you guys were doing using CloudFormation, which we're going to skip. So let's go to the next session, right? So as I mentioned, now we're going to dive into Ops Center. So if you get to this point, we assume that you have already set up the environment, the workshop environment, which is basically a Windows instance with a special script that's going to cause it to consume CPU. So basically what we're going to do now, we're going to create a CloudWatch Alarm to check the CPU credit utilization on this instance and see if that triggers, well, and that has to trigger an ops item for us, which will allow us to react and investigate. So the easiest way to create the this alarm is using Clown Shell. So that's the way we're gonna do it. But first, I need to copy this to a text editor, which in my case, I have already done. Okay, so I have to fill in the instance ID. Which I can get from here. I get the instance ID and fill in my template. There you go. Be aware also that you have to change the account values as well, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and save this file on my desktop. So I have it handy. So I'll go ahead and launch my Cloud Shell. If it's the first time you are using this, it might take you some time to do the first initial setup. There you go. Prepare your terminal. And now we have a terminal here. So first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to upload the file that I just added. It was stored on my desktop. Put alarms metrics JSON. That's the one. That's my instance ID. So I know this is the right file and my account number. So open and upload. It's uploading the file. Okay, once it's successful, I'm going to go ahead on my guide and get the command to put the metric file alarm. There you go. So this is the easiest way of using the CLI. As you can see, the The file is here. So I'll just go ahead and issue the command so it imports the alarm for me. I'm gonna show in a moment how that looks like in the console. All right, looks like it's done. So let's go ahead and check CloudWatch to make sure it's created. So since I just created the alarm, it's in the state of insufficient data. Okay, it's gonna take some time until it reports either an alarm or okay, depending on the value. So the idea is that when the instance goes below 5 CPU credits, it issues me upsighting alert, so I can capture that on the system manager. As you can see, the actions here is when in alarm, create ops item with severity 2 and category cost. As you guys know, the T family instance, the instance type T, they are burstable. So it's always good to ensure that you're not consuming CPU credits or that you are bursting, in other words, right? Because this will reflect directly on your cost. So that's the idea that we are working behind here. As you can see, the alarm has settled already because it has the data points it needs, and it's showing me in alarm, right? So this in alarm must have created me an ops item here, an ops center. There you go. I have a couple of alarms from Security Hub, which has nothing to do with this. And we have my CloudWatch Alarm. If I click down, we're gonna see that the a minute ago, that's the one. So that's my upside alarm that was triggered due to the fact that this instance has low CPU credit, so credit balance is low, right? I don't have any runbook set up to be executed automatically, but if I wanted, I could go ahead and fire up a runbook if I so wanted, right? So it also gonna give you some insight on the alarm itself, what caused the alarm, operational data, and this kind of stuff. Okay, so also the related resource details, the other op items, the description. Okay, so it gives you a little context of what's going on, including the history, right? When it was configured, when it was set up, when the alarm was triggered, etc. So it's a very interesting to see these things in action, right? So if it's triggering a CPU issue or a CPU alarm, the next thing I would like to do here is check to Fleet Manager or are my metrics for this instance in real time. So if I go ahead and select my instance action, view on performance counters, so it shows me real time. This is the equivalent of going into the instance directly and do a task manager, right? So we can see what the CPU utilization looks like. And as you can see, we are around 50% CPU utilization. This is due to the script that you guys launched within the instance when you first created it. So we have an alarm on our upside and open for us. So we have to investigate what is causing this, right? So this is the part where I would go ahead and connect to the instance. And to make things a little more easy for you guys, I have created a guide of the commands that you can use to troubleshoot the CPU issue, right? So the performance counter that we were seeing, approximately 5%. So we are doing good in the guide. So we're gonna start a session. And first we're gonna issue some commands to see what's consuming my CPU, or what is causing the CPU to be more than 40%, right? So I'm gonna change directories real quick. There you go. You have a PowerShell process, which is consuming a lot of CPU for 14 minutes, of obviously because it was the time that we first launched the instance, right? And if I repeat, you're gonna see that this behavior is kind of consistent with the instance. So we definitely have an issue here, right? So from here, I could obviously kill the process, but that's not what I want. I want to go ahead and deep dive a little bit. This is a PowerShell, meaning that I can go ahead and attach a debugger to it and see if I can understand what part of the script is causing the CPU to spike. So in this case, I have to put the process ID, which is 4000. There you go. I connected to the process. Now my next command gonna show me how to get the run space of the PowerShell. We have one available here, run space number 1. So I'm gonna connect to that run space for debugging, which coincidentally is also 1 in the guide. There you go. It says that the script is hung in a while condition, right? While A, whatever A means, is equal to 1, that it does a loop, right? So if I want more context, I can go ahead and do a list 1. It's going to show me all the script that I have. So here it says, don't kill this script. That's a good thing I didn't. It's very critical to the workload, blah, 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 and instructs me to change a key in our registry from 1 to 0. So these logs are not written, therefore I won't have any CPU issue, right? So basically what I need to do is edit the registry, right? As I said previously, you have the option of changing Windows registry here, or you can run a system manager, which is the route we're gonna take, or you can run a command, run command, that will change the value for you and make it easier, right? So I'm gonna go run command. The command, the name for this command is here in the guide. So there you go, AWS Fleet Manager. Okay, that's the one, set Windows registry value. I want to make sure that I'm running the latest version of it. Ask me for the path. So if you remember, the path is here. So I'll just simply copy and paste it. Okay, sample app. The kind is D word, and the value is 0. And of course, I'll put performing actions to yes. And I think that's it. I forgot a column there. Let me check. HA name, crazy logs, sample app, D word. Okay, it looks good, right? So the next thing I have to check is the target. So I will choose the instance manually because I want to do to this instance only. But in a scenario where I would have a lot of instances, we could do the same. I will not change any other parameter. I want write the outputs to S3. It should be a short output anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it. And let's wait for the results. Okay, it says it was successful, right? So if I click here, I can see the output. The registry value has been configured. Okay, so if I go back to my instance, on Fleet Manager, according to my documentation, the CPU utilization is like 4%. So it indeed fixed my issue, right? And that's what we wanted to do. That's pretty much what I had for this lab. So the next session is going to be take a look on the Explorer and Application Manager, basically. Okay, so the Explorer dashboard, we do have, since we use the Quick Start, so we do have Explorer already enabled. So if I go here to Explorer, it's going to give me like a overview of my data, of what I have, my ops items and stuff like that. And if I go to settings, I can customize my dashboard and tell it what I can see or what I want to see, what I cannot see, right? So that's pretty much what you can do here. Explorer settings, okay, configure dashboard. These are the sources or where can I get the data to be centralized here. So in my case, I have everything enabled. So in the guide tells you to enable at least Ops Center so you can view the ops items that we just created. And also gives you the option of exporting this data to an S3 bucket. So the idea, this is a little out of scope for this presentation, but the idea here is that when you have a multi-account, multi-region scenario, it's convenient to go ahead and consolidate your status or for your Explorer in a bucket, and then from this bucket create your dashboards, right? So that's the idea. So you can do the data sync in a more scalable way. Okay, so I think that those are two main characteristics that I would like to highlight regarding Explorer. For the rest of it, well, it's a regular dashboard, right? So what's interesting here is to put more information. Since my environment was a demo environment that I just created, we don't have much to see here, right? But the idea is that it updates. As you can see, it's telling me I have security issues. They have an ops item, which is a cost ops item, which is the one that I just worked on. Gives me a findings by severity. Tells me my compliance in terms of AWS config and the compliance summary and stuff like that. So I highly encourage you guys to spend some time and see what else can you get from here, right? Including the trusted advisor checks and stuff like that. Next session we're gonna explore is the application manager. So application manager can give you context, application context on your resources more than you can get from individual items. So in this part, basically, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a resource using resource groups. We're gonna do the more manual way, right? So I'm the part. If I go to the guide, I'm in this part here where we are exploring application manager. Actually, here where I click create the custom application. Okay, there you go. Explorer dashboard. Create a resource group, go to resource groups and create and filter by tag, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. So this is my resource group, the SSM workshop. Let me create one from the scratch. So the criteria is gonna be tag. The resource type, I'm not gonna change that. I'm gonna leave everything. The tag itself, it's called SSM workshop. Let me just confirm I have the right one. Yeah, there you go, SSM workshop. So, and the value is gonna be true, right? So I'm gonna add that. So every resource that gets this tag gonna have this, gonna be part of this custom application. Workshop, uh, create group. Okay, there we go. Once the group is created, you can go ahead. It's gonna filter all the resources that you have under this tag. In my case, it's just one instance, the test Windows instance. So it should be see something similar to that. If I go into uh, that basically what you have to do for resource groups. So let's go into application manager to see how this fits together in the application manager, right? So if I go to application manager here, let's go back to system manager. Go into application manager. There you go. Uh, you guys are gonna see here an overview, right, with everything that it discovered. And if I go to applications, it's gonna see my SSM workshop 2, which is the group I just created. It's gonna load all the information that it has regarding this application. And from here, right off the bat, you can see that it got the CloudWatch Alarm recreated. So it's telling me, hey, this application has an alarm. Tells me the resources associated with this application. So I have the alarm, the network interface, the volume, the instance itself, the compliance that this issue has with the AWS config. So this is also interesting. Shows you the monitoring part of these resources, that is CloudWatch basically. So you're gonna show the alarms by services, showing me the alarm that we just worked on. This is gonna clear as soon as we start getting CPU credits. And gonna show me the ops items that I created. In this case, there's none. Gonna show me the logs, the log groups associated with this, and the runbooks if I so wish to run runbooks and I had configured this, right? So this is basically the insights that application manager can give you, right? And you can see on the overview as well that we support a lot of resources, just like ECS, AKS clusters. Actually, it detected that I have a ECS cluster and has put both of those here for me. Okay, guys, so once we are done, there are some teardown instructions which I would like to go ahead and go with you guys. So make sure you don't have any resource left from this workshop that we're gonna cause you to create. We're gonna cause you charge to your accounts, right? So we want to avoid it. So first of all, let's delete the quick setup host configuration. So to do that, just navigate back to quick setup here. It's gonna list your configuration. So in this case, I just have one. I'm just gonna go ahead and select it and actions, delete configuration. Okay, once it's done, I can go ahead and do a delete configuration. I'm gonna have to go ahead and confirm that by typing delete, and that should disappear forever and ever. There you go. You have no configurations yet because I just deleted. So this, I deleted the first part, my teardown for the quick setup. Next, I have to delete the CloudWatch alarm. So let's go to CloudWatch. Wait for it to load. There you go. I'll go into my alarms. Here's the alarm we created. So I'll just go ahead and do a delete. And that should delete the CloudWatch Alarm as well, definitely. And that's what we want, right? So we'll tear down the CloudWatch Alarm. There you go. Let's check the CloudFormation stack. This would be if we had done this using CloudFormation. We have not, so I'll skip that one. Let's terminate the EC2 instances. That's the Windows instance we've been playing with. So if I go ahead to EC2, select my instance, right click it, and do a terminate instance. And that should do the trick, terminate. There you go, successfully terminated. Okay, it's working. And now delete the resource group as well, right? So let's go to my resource groups. I'll select my resource group, view on details, and click delete. And there you go. My resource group is deleted, and we have cleared everything that we did. And that's it. Thank you so much, guys, and hope to see you soon.